it's important to understand that grief is not only a pain, it's also a powerful force for personal transformation.
Grief can be a monster. And if we're not taking care of ourselves, it can really show us flames.
Essentially, when that person dies, it's as if society expects you to have died with that person. I think transition, like any other process in life, takes time.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to A Space to Breathe. Today, it's episode number 9. And we're talking wellness.
Yes.
We have a special guest today. You know me, as always. I never take the platform to introduce. They will introduce themselves. Besides the fact that I call her Sindi. Sometimes I call her Lishe. She will tell you why. So I just want to say welcome, viewers. Today we're talking wellness. Yes. And it's been quite a journey. I will call it, it's going to be an emotional wellness session for us.
Yes.
Because it's about time for us to start prioritizing on self-care. Yes. It's been a long one. And I think most of you probably have seen Sindi before during our live sessions, 8 p.m. On Thursdays. She came in on the third week of the month. So do you expect her on the third week of the month? She joins us on A Space to Breathe, live at 8 p.m. Before she actually introduces herself, just want to remind you viewers to say, go to our YouTube channel, A Space to Breathe. Please don't forget to like, to comment, to share, and subscribe. And remember, the subscription is for free. Welcome, Sindi.
Thank you so much.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Awesome. And like I said, Lishe.
And as you know, I'm Sindisiwe Lishe. And of course, I work at an intersection between emotional well-being, holistic living, and of course, storytelling.
Yeah.
And through Lishe, my online publication and actual wellness brand, I create spaces and digital, whether physical, emotional, sensory, where people really reconnect with themselves and reimagine their relationship with healing, with wellness, with holistic living.
Beautiful. And I just want to say thank you. I want to take this platform to say thank you for allowing yourself to come through today, and also coming through on third week of every month. Really, I know that most of our readers are really appreciating the sessions because we're really getting help. Grief can be a monster. And if we're not taking care of ourselves, it can really show us flames. Maybe take us through on how must we deal with this thing?
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't want to give it a name.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, you are going through a personal transformation yourself, right? So you're like, kahle, kwenzakalani? Then sometimes I just give it a tag and say, it's grief.
Yeah.
Maybe from the wellness perspective.
Yes.
Talk us through that.
So I think everyone goes through that journey. I mean, I think that's what I always say, even on Thursdays.
Yeah.
Long before I found wellness, I know that everybody has experienced loss. And loss comes in different ways. And I know for me, personal loss sort of cracked something open for me. And at a time where I didn't actually have the language. And maybe that's the thing about grief. We often don't know what the language or the tools are to process everything. And that experience plants, how we move in that space, how we move with each other, how we reconnect with the world as a whole during the transformation. And I don't believe that wellness is something that happens externally, that we externally chase it. I believe that it's something you return to. And I think in that grieving process, that's what we're doing. That's what you're doing. That's what the ladies are doing online. And we each just trying to find out what is the next step in this thing that I'm going through. And it's different for everyone.
Yeah.
I often say, every Thursday I say the most important thing is to give yourself grace. Give yourself grace for being in that moment, whether you're grieving your lost one or you're trying to understand how do I move forward. Just give yourself grace. And I think that's where wellness starts.
Yeah.
And that's where self-care starts. It's not the thing that we see on TV. It's not the smoothie and the gym membership.
Yeah.
It's really about being present for yourself.
And now that you really got into the wellness, I think probably let's elaborate more on that, right?
Yeah.
Because I end up finding myself that there's just so many things. We go to Discam in the section of wellness. There's a lot of things. You go to wherever any shop, or even I even go to the wellness. What do you call these shops?
Yes.
You go in there. You're like, what is it that I'm gonna get?
Yeah.
Because you're going through a lot. There's these emotions. There's this anxiety at the same time. Somewhere when I check, the blood pressure is going crazy.
Yes.
What is this wellness? Like, how can you help an individual to say, when you say we're taking care of wellness, how does it look like?
Okay. So wellness is holistic. There's no part where wellness starts and it ends. From how am I eating during this period to am I making sure I have sleep? And when you're having high blood pressure, that usually means it's stress. How am I handling my stress? Am I taking my walks? Am I making sure that when I'm not eating enough, that I'm supplementing that? And for me, I always believe it's always so important to supplement naturally because you need to also build your system up to handle what you're going through.
Yeah.
And sometimes people are not sleeping well and you're not eating well. And so those are the times where not only should you be giving yourself grace, but that's when wellness kicks in as a whole, because you need to introduce little things in that journey that connects to what you need in your body, in your spirit, in your mind.
Yeah. And when you're talking about supplements, like I said, that whole line of things, there's just so many of them. And and obviously I'm not saying give us a prescription, because it
differs.
It differs to everybody, right?
Yes.
But it's a matter of a bit of guidance to say, here I am now, appetite is gone.
Yes.
I hardly eat, maybe I eat twice a day. Sometimes my daughter even gets worried now to say, Mom, I haven't seen you eat.
Yes.
Then I'll just grab maybe a banana just to show her that at least I'm eating something.
Yes.
Maybe let's talk about the food first.
Okay.
How do we deal with this appetite thing?
Yeah. So usually when you lose your appetite, it's probably also because of stress, because of what you're dealing with. So I would always recommend to people supplement what you're used to eating. So for instance, if you're used to waking up and really not eating, but because of this period, you're losing a lot of your strength. So introduce things that you maybe used to have even when you were younger, like porridge. Introduce porridge back in your diet because you quickly cook it, and it's something you can share with your kids or your partner or something like that.
I'm actually running away from porridge because it's quite an emotional thing for me.
Yes.
My husband and I loved porridge. So I've been running away from that.
Okay.
Because I feel that probably it's going to have some triggers.
Yes.
Even my daughter asked me last time, she's like, Mom, when is the last time you cooked porridge?
Porridge, yeah.
And I said, why? She's like, I feel like having porridge.
Yeah.
And when I cooked it, it was so emotional. It was really emotional because I end up taking out 3 plates because now I need to dish out for 3 people.
Yeah.
And then she asked me, why? Who are you dishing her for? For a moment, then I had to let her, and I'm like, okay, let me just dish up for you. And then I just go to my room and I had to let it out.
Yeah.
So I'm running away from them because I loved porridge. And I'm saying loved because now I'm running away from it.
Yes.
And I'm not big with cereal.
Yeah.
Maybe if I do, I would say maybe let's try a muesli or something.
Yes.
But even with that, it's once in a while. I think, like I said, this appetite thing is really not.
Yes.
Do you believe in this multivitamin things? Does it also help?
I really don't. I believe in staying authentic. And I just want to add, Noni, I think sometimes when you're going through, because grief, it's important to understand that grief is not only a pain, it's also a powerful force for personal transformation. So those moments where you feel like, oh my gosh, I just put out 3 plates. It's okay because that you're acknowledging that that person was there. That was the person you used to enjoy porridge with. And that was in itself is a process. And so dish up those 3 plates. Be okay with that. And then the transition takes place.
Okay.
Because eventually you'll put out 2 plates. But
And
you're
sometimes
in
2 cups of tea.
girl. And so it's a process. Yeah, give yourself grace to put out the 3 plates. Make the porridge because you're celebrating a life that was very much there. And maybe that's why you haven't been eating because you are so used to catering for these 3 people who used to share so much, used to eat together, used to laugh together at this table. And that hasn't changed. Because I think as a spiritual being, wellness for me changes to not just being a physical thing. It's also a spiritual and an emotional thing. So understand that that person might not be there, but that person is now an angel. And so I believe those people move in our spaces in the different ways because that's a transitional way. But understand that that's why you still feel that spirit and you feel that moment. And so it's important to just give yourself grace, dish up the porridge and share it. Share it in the moment and share the memory.
Sure. Yeah, it does take a lot. Because those emotions, they're quite hard to shift, but like you said, it's a matter of giving ourselves grace.
Yes.
But I think it's a matter of, is it possible to let go?
I think that's maybe the problem. People say things like, let go, let God,
Yes.
let go. And like,
Yeah.
I think let
get it all
go,
the time.
close that door,
Yes.
closure. I really think that transformation is that. It's transformation.
Yeah.
Grief, you're grieving the person you used to be before. And now you're in a different phase. So you're no longer that person. And so you're not letting go of that person. You're just transitioning. Because you've learned different skills now. Because that's what happens when you go through a hard thing like grief or loss. You can't go back there. So you have to grieve even that person you used to be when you were there with that person. And now you're here and this person is not here. So you've transformed. And so you're not letting go. You're transitioning.
Yeah, I feel that this grief thing is very much attached to my identity to a certain degree.
Yes.
How must I'm trying to figure out, and I think sometimes it's about, because you're attached to this grief.
Yes.
When you want to let go, you're also feeling a bit guilty.
Yes.
Because you find yourself to say, "Ingathi ngiyamtetela umuntu wami,"
Yeah.
How do we deal with that? Because I feel that there's still so much attachment.
Yes.
A simple, just looking at the gown, I will feel comfortable just wearing his gown right now. But at the same time, there's this thing, but the more I spend on these things, then the more I'm getting all these emotions and everything else.
Yeah.
How do we detach? Is it possible to detach? Does it take time?
I think it does take time. I think transition, like any other process in life, takes time. I think that's why I think even the last time when we mentioned that, I was very cautious to say, you know what, in understanding that grief is very an addictive thing. But I think what's more addictive is because we just like to keep the memory of this person around as long as possible. And that's okay. But I remember saying last, it's also important to understand that in the conversations you've had in your relationships, and I always say it's so important to have these conversations while people are alive.
Yeah.
I don't think this person would like you to live like that forever. I don't think he likes to think of you as a person who should stay here holding on. He wants you to have a full life because that's what he gave you when he was alive. And so it's so important to understand it's okay to transition and grieve and mourn this person, but it's also to realize that you're still very much alive. And that's the important thing. And I think your spirit always tells you when it's really, you're okay now.
Yeah.
It's okay to take the leap.
Yeah.
And the grief is just part of the process.
Yeah. And it's not something that you can run away from.
No.
Because strangely, I still get inboxes on TikTok, It's been 5 years, it's been 7 years, Noni, but trust me,
Yes.
I still cry like as if it happened yesterday.
Yes.
And you're asking yourself, hey, will I ever heal? And I think one of the things that we've been sharing with the ladies on the WhatsApp group is to say, we're really not going to heal, but we're just going to learn to navigate
Yes.
around this whole thing,
Yes.
I just want to maybe take us back to the issue of appetite, right? So we spoke about appetite.
Yes.
To find ways of how we can really deal with that.
Yes.
Now, when we come to the issue of forgetness,
Yes.
because I say I share my laptop, my meeting, I have never done that.
Yes.
Saying I share is like things that I need for the
Yes.
day. I will literally forget them at home.
Yes.
And you find yourself because now I need to drive back. Then your day is already spoiled. Then the emotion starts coming in.
Yes.
And everything starts crumbling down.
Yes.
What is it that we must do, especially when it comes to this brain thing?
Yeah.
Because I mean, like I said, in the aisle, I even saw some brain mental whatever capsules. It's about 400 and something. And I'm like,
I always believe in like a tea. I just feel like teas are nourishing and also teas are healing.
Yeah.
So I would recommend something like lantana, which is a herb. You get it. It's a crushed herb. You get it in a box, and it's a brew. You brew it, and it helps with brain focus. It's actually even recommended for kids who have issues focusing at school.
Okay.
But also, again, None, I always believe in grace. I think last time I spoke to the ladies about noting things down. If you know you have a meeting tomorrow, write down on your diary or on your phone, put it on your calendar that I have a meeting at 11. At 11, this meeting is happening. Pack laptop, pack diary.
Hold on to that. As much as we took notes on that day, right? Oh my goodness. Let me tell you, there was a shortfall then on the note taking. Oh my goodness. Yes. Because I'll tell you why. Because, right now my phone calendar looks like I'm an event coordinator, which is great. Yes. Because now at least I'm starting to remember things, right? Like my appointments and stuff, because I would forget them, right? So, but I never put in the details of the things that I needed for those specific meetings. Here's me, I will just grab my key and I leave.
Get out the door.
Oh, may the traffic officers find me on the day when I don't even have my driver's license, because it's been happening quite often. I leave my purse at home. Yes. I'm like, dear Lord, I'm going to photocopy. Like, can I just make a photocopy of this thing and keep it in the car?
Yes.
But it's been really, really rough. Yeah. And I think I appreciate that tip.
Yes.
Honestly, I just want to take in that tip.
Yes.
And because I think I totally forgot about it. Well, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Besides the fact that in my calendar, on my voice note, I will say these things.
Yes.
Right? Tomorrow you've got 3 meetings.
Yes.
Then I break it down. You're going to speak to this person. You're going to do this. You're going to do this.
Yeah.
But I never wrote this thing down of, you're going to need that. I didn't write the tools. So maybe let's bracket it and say, write the tools.
Please. Right, meeting date, meeting with this person.
And people might think that we're
tools.
actually joking, right?
No, these are important
things. These are
things.
the important things, I promise you.
Yes,
I've been really going through a rough one, guys. I went to a presentation without a laptop.
Guys.
Like I had my projector.
Yes.
So here's me going to a presentation, carrying a projector and my handbag. And I get there.
And then, girl.
But, so connectangane, ma'am. And the presentation.
I love the person who has the strength to say it. And
I'm like, Actually, EP laptop. Now I'm starting to look for the laptop. We go to the car there's nothing.
Yes.
And luckily my team have had a backup.
Yeah.
But you can imagine on the day how I was going to look like.
Yes.
Going to a group of people expecting a presentation and you've got nothing. Gosh. Anyway, we're going to get there.
We're going to get there. Also learn how to, like when you're doing presentation, email yourself the presentation just in case. You just never know. Always have a backup. Email yourself that presentation. Email yourself those
Or even
notes.
WhatsApp yourself.
Or WhatsApp yourself. And say,
because obviously I'm always keeping my phone
this
with
is your
me.
presentation for tomorrow just in case.
Oh, wow. I know because that one showed me flames. Anyway, now we've dealt with the appetite. We've dealt with the
focus.
With the focus. Now let's talk about energy levels.
Yeah.
How do we boost the energy levels?
I think energy levels suffer because you're probably not getting enough rest. So
there's no sleeping.
Yeah, there's no sleep.
Ngo-12 aslalanga kushawu 1 kushawu 2. I've received voice notes about 12. I've received voice notes about 3. And not to say I'm complaining is because we are sharing nami at the time, nami ngashare at that time. You know?
Aglalege. And because look, Nani, grief changes you. Yeah. There's an internal shift that happens. You lose, you've lost this rhythm that you used to have where you just... Yeah. I mean, I know on a normal day, Noni, you're the type of person where even if you've missed the presentation, you got on stage, you're like, Azish.
Right? I would go.
Yes, you just go. But because your arithmetic has just, it's shifted. And you've lost the steps, that pep in your step. I think also it's important to understand that that's something that's natural. It happens with women in different phases of their life. Loss, giving birth, all these processes. And so things like magnesium are a great one. Okay. Magnesium helps you with tiredness. Magnesium helps you with sleep and muscle recovery if you're a person who's taking long walks and hikes and all that stuff. So magnesium is a great addition to your diet. I think I recommend it to the ladies. It's so important to put it on your next grocery list. You can go to Checkers and get it or Pick and Pay or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. So without looking at magnesium, what type of food then probably that also boost?
I think obviously fruits and veg are a great one, especially the green ones. Yeah. Pineapples are great, so balancing your fruit intake and vegetable intake is also good. And I think holistically, I mean, we spoke about breakfast, having porridge and things. It's so important to try and not miss meals. But when you do, make sure you're getting a little small portion of a bowl of something. Whether it's a fruit salad or just a salad with a few nuts.
Not because you've missed it. It's because you forgot.
I know. So now you have to also put on the phone, have a snack.
So probably I was going to go there. Yes. Actually, maybe then let me have a planned day on it's time to take something.
Yes.
It's time to do this and put it as a reminder so that it can really quick and just grab whatever it is.
Yes.
Because, whoa, guys, anyway, it's crazy.
Yeah.
You are in a space of your energy levels are down, right? Yes. You get tired and your brain is not functioning the way it's supposed to.
Yeah.
These emotions are on a roller coaster.
Yes.
And then at the same time, you're saying, I'm giving myself grace. I'm giving myself grace. I mean, there's quite a few declarations that we've shared.
Yes.
And I think our viewers can check on our page, on our TikTok, on Space to Breathe. I've shared those affirmations.
Yeah.
It's not easy to move forward, right? Because there's also the issue of the society.
Yes.
For whatever number of years until they feel born. I feel good to know. Shem.
Yes.
How can we reframe this thing of moving forward? Because it gets misunderstood at the same time. When I'm starting to do things, listen now, they started seeing me now running or playing some sports or doing something.
Yeah.
Hey, what's the Shabo?
I think, Noni, we live in a world that's always going to have something to say. And it's important that I think we really acknowledge the loss of yourself.
Yeah.
Because even as you're running and you're going there, you're still very much that person that lost something, that lost a bit of yourself, that's going through this transition. And I don't think you ever need to define it for anyone. I think it's so important to understand that people are always going to have something to say. You're not moving fast enough. Or when are you going to move on? Oh, why did you move on so quickly? They're never going to, because essentially when that person dies, it's as if society expects you to have died with that person. But when you...
Which you do to a certain degree.
You do to a certain degree, but especially if you're a mother and you're a person who contribute largely to your family, that's not something that's possible. So it's something that you yourself have to have a conversation to yourself and say, look, people are never going to be happy with my transition, whatever it is. Am I happy with it?
So it's all about you.
Honestly.
Not anybody else.
Honestly.
Do not want to look at the side. You know when they say the race is here, this is your lane. Stay in your lane, fellow widow.
Yes.
Can we learn to deal with self
Pretty
in
much.
the best possible way that suits us?
Yes.
That speaks to us.
Yes.
Because basazokhuluma.
Nje?
Bahlezi bakhuluma.
Bahlezi.
Ngisho noma ungayenzani.
Agel.
Angeke bathule. You know, ngisho noma ungaposta bazokhomenta abanye bakuthuke. It's not going to stop.
Which is the worst.
Which is the worst,
Which
right?
is the worst.
So I just want to say probably we must learn to just deal with self.
Yes.
And prioritize ourselves
Very much.
before anything else.
Yes.
Understanding our own purposes. Yes, sometimes it might be difficult.
It is.
Probably, do you have maybe any idea or tips that you can share on how can we maneuver this whole thing of purpose?
I think purpose is look, I think when you're going through this transition, you're now having to deal with a new normal. And it's important, not only do you acknowledge that this transition has had an effect on you, women generally are always on a microscope. You're either pregnant early or too late, or you're not having babies, or somebody always has an opinion about how a woman is moving in this life. So it is very important to be the positive voice inside your mind. You've created this mind has been created for you by God and whoever you believe in, and it's important that you are comfortable within the body that you live in. Because outside of the noise, you have to go sit with Noni at home. So I think for me, that's the conversation we should be having.
Yeah.
When you're alone, what are the conversations that you're having with yourself? What is the voice? Because they say the power of the tongue is it's very powerful. How are you talking to yourself?
Well, I have actually posted and
Well.
I actually posted and I said I think someone said, fellow widows, this is our new normal.
Yeah.
To talk to ourselves, and it's okay because
okay.
it's not like you're losing your mind.
Yes.
Because you are letting it out.
Yes.
Because initially I thought I was losing my mind. And not just talking to myself, I would actually talk as if I'm talking to my husband.
Yeah.
Yes. Sometimes I just go to my room, tell him about my day.
Yes.
And my daughter will say, "Oh, khuluma nobani?" I'm like, no, I'm just talking it out. I'm just letting things out. She's
Yes.
like, "Oh, are you sure you're okay, mommy?" And I said, "No, I'm fine."
Good.
Yeah.
Then,
and I'm also telling her to say, if you want to talk. Don't keep it in.
Yes.
Talk so that it can come out.
Yes.
Right? So it is the new normal.
Yes.
And you just have to find what is your new normal.
Exactly.
For me right now, talking to myself and talking as if he's there, it's my new normal.
Yes.
And I'm finding it after I've done that, it makes
Therapeutic.
it yeah. There's this thing that I feel a bit calm.
Wow.
even though sometimes I feel like I want to phone and call him and say, babe, I just want to update you. But
Yeah.
But sadly, there's been another day coming to a wedding. So it was late, Tando. And I said to Tando, pick up the phone and call Baba to switch on the geyser for us. Ooh, my daughter looked at me. I'm like, what's wrong? She's like, you just said I must call Baba. And I said, yes, call him. By the time we get home, the geyser will be ready. She's like, there's no one at home. Ooh, luckily we're closer to home. I just had the moment of silence right there. And, when I got home, I had to let it out because I was like, it hits you again.
Yes.
But anyway, this journey is not an easy one. I always tell people this is not easy.
No.
And not just only from maybe losing your spouse. I recently had a conversation with a lady who lost a child. And you could feel the pain.
Yeah.
And you're like, sure, I can't imagine how I would have felt if I had to go through that. Yeah. This nervous system, maybe the respiratory, nervous system.
Yes.
I nervous system is one of my flames, guys.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, you feel like you are dizzy. 1, 2, 3, you feel like you've got hot flashes from nowhere.
Yeah.
The blood pressure. This is the one that goes with the blood pressure, right?
Yes.
It's shooting crazy. Then you're busy drinking a lot of water at the same time.
Yeah.
But they say water helps, right?
It really does.
What are the tiny little exercises without saying, no, you go register a gym because I'm going to gym?
Because the nervous system is different because it's literally a trauma response. Because loss is a trauma. It's not just finding out that person is no more. That's a trauma reaction.
Yeah.
I always believe in sort of calming your nervous system. I mean, a simple thing, just tapping on yourself actually helps slower your heart rate and slower yourself. And you'll start yawning. You need to actually cross both your arms.
Yeah.
And just tap on yourself. And just calm yourself and say, no, it's okay. You will start to yawn. And that's when you start realizing that I'm calming down and it's okay.
Sure.
Yeah, just as simple as that.
We are going to try that. Fellow widows, these are the practical things that we go through. These are the things that we are getting every Thursday. By the way, every Thursday, live on TikTok. Actually, not every Thursday. She comes through on the 3rd week of the month.
Yes.
Right? But we do have our lives every Thursday at 8 p.m. Where we talk about all kinds of topics. Anyway, now as we get to the last part here.
Yes.
These affirmations.
Our favorite.
I
feel like everybody looks forward to the affirmations. They're like, Sindi, come with the affirmations.
Sindi, come with the affirmations. We might just call it Sindi affirmation session.
Yeah.
Hit us.
Okay, so the affirmations today are really about connecting to the transition that you're going through. So I wanted to say, you are not leaving anyone behind. You are taking them with you in a new way.
Okay.
That goes back to those 3 bowls. Every breath you take towards healing honors their memory. And it says, your love changed me, and now I live for us both.
Yeah. Now, yeah. I think it's this thing of living this life for both.
Yeah.
Because at the same time you're trying to find who is Unoni.
Yes.
But at the same time there was Unoni
And.
Yes. Right?
Yeah.
And this oneness that we had
Yeah.
was part and parcel of I'll call it our journey. And now I need to find my journey.
Yes.
Ngibalance kanjani, Sindi, because I get overwhelmed at the same time
Yeah.
when I'm busy trying to do self-reflection
Yes.
on who is Unoni.
Yes.
But at the same time, like you said, I feel like I'm leaving them behind.
Yes.
In my self-reflection, what can I do to feel that I'm taking them along?
I think also just not allowing the guilt to be the overwhelming voice. When you, for instance, Noni, dish up 3 bowls, you didn't make a mistake. You're just transitioning in your new way. Like I said, eventually you won't dish up 3 bowls. So this new you is taking a part of you that was there before into the new phase you're in. And that's okay. I think we always think that when you're going through a change in your life, change is it's lightning bolt, and it's not. Change is hard. Change shifts you. Change really molds you into a different person. And that cocooning and that process is a long process. And it's so important to give ourselves grace, but to also allow the process to take place. So, I mean, I think the first conversation that we had on wellness, I said, it's so important that within that process, you allow yourself not only grace, but understand that this is part of the process I'm supposed to go through. And I'm not slowing it down by feeling all these other feelings.
Yeah.
I'm understanding that there's a natural effect that must take place.
It's the natural effect.
It's the natural effect that we try. And look, we live in a world where, and I think that's why wellness is such a big word now, because we live in a world that has said, no, you need to be productive. Let's go.
Yeah.
Where's the laptop? Let's get working. But there's also living. And living is part of you breathing and existing in the life that God has given you.
Sure.
And that's important.
It's the breathing.
So breathe.
Yeah.
Breathe.
And it's a thing that, like I always say, I tend to forget to breathe.
Yes. And just that one evening where we just sat for a moment and we breathed. Let's do it right now, Noni. Let's take a deep breath in.
Let's do that.
Hold it for 4. And exhale.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, with you can take the whole, how our session goes. They go crazy, so we can talk the whole time. I just want us to take that moment then as we wrap up. Just want to say thank you so much, viewers out there, for really being present on this episode. You're more than welcome to ask questions. You're more than welcome to share your comments. Lishe Wellness is always also on social media. You can also just pop in, go to their website, or even go to their Facebook pages. You'll be able then to get some teas as well there.
Yes.
There's some lovely teas there.
Yes.
Like she said, she loves the teas.
I do love tea. It's true.
So you can check it out. But it's really to say, find things, or find the remedy for yourself, right? It's not, we can't say drink your tea in the morning, do this, do that. You have to try all these things until you find your own way of doing things, right? I need to find from besides the porridge, I don't know what else I must find, because I haven't found the replacement besides the porridge, because I loved it.
Yes.
So I just want to say, let's work on this together,
Yes.
And be patient with each other,
Yes.
because it becomes very uncomfortable when we are busy pushing ourselves, because we want people to see us that we're okay.
Yeah.
And I've come to a point whereby I feel like I'm tired, and I'm tired to a point whereby I'm starting to cancel meetings that I feel that are going to drain me, because I'm still getting the shame coffee meetings. So I'm like,
Cancel those meetings.
Cancel
honey.
those
Cancel
meetings.
those meetings.
Right?
Yes.
And it's okay. And
It's all okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, we're not holding space for negativity.
Okay. Oh, so we are fine.
We're fine.
Okay. Because sometimes I feel bad. You know
Cancel
me.
them.
And I will feel bad. I'm like, Eish, how do I tell these
okay.
people? We'll see.
It's okay.
I'm not okay.
You don't have to explain yourself.
All right. Maybe in closing, Sindi, how can our widows gently reintroduce joy in their spirit? Gently. So that it can come in, the peace, all of it. Just in closing. And whatever tips, of course, that you would like to share.
So I think we always think of ourselves as adults, and we think of ourselves in a space where this is who I am now, and as Noni, this is how I'm supposed to move. Mm-hmm. I always like to think of fun as, who are you as a child? Mm-hmm. And if you can't remember that, that's probably because some of the things you're dealing now are because of things that you didn't deal with about what happened to you as a child. Mm. And so when you remember the fun things that you used to enjoy, because fun is simplicity. It's enjoying a movie.
Yeah.
And it's okay to cry.
Yeah.
It's enjoying. I will even go on a ride. Mm. There's a carnival that's opening in the neighborhood. I'm going to go on a ride.
Yeah.
And have the wind blow in my face.
Yes.
Yes.
Because
go into a
jump.
Go into a park and swing.
Yeah.
And you're like, yo, when's the last time I swang? Just simple things. Go and buy yourself an ice cream.
Yeah.
Sit in the park and eat and enjoy an ice cream. Really sit and enjoy it. Sit and savor every lick. And be like, oh, this was good. Just that simplicity, guys.
Simplicity.
It's simplicity. We overthink it, but it's just that. Just those small things. Or even you think all the things you are scared of in the world, because grief makes you that. It makes you just choke up.
Yeah.
So think of the one thing you've always wanted to do. I remember once I am scared of heights. Heights are just not my thing. But I went tandem skydiving.
What?
I went into a plane and the guy said, I'm not going to push you, you're going to jump off. And I jumped off. And I was like, this is the only one and last time I do, but I was so proud of myself. So think of the one thing that you always wanted to do.
Wow.
And say, I'm going to do that thing. Book it immediately. Don't even think twice. Book it immediately.
So that you can just face it.
If you've never swam, for instance, if you're like, I'm so scared of water, take swimming lessons.
Well, swim. I've been tasked to do that one.
Yeah.
Because
I'm now going to be your accountability partner.
Thank you. Remind me.
Yes.
Oh, check on me.
I'm checking.
To say, how far are you?
I'm going to send you all the specials. No need. There's a special down the road.
Please attend. Book. Wow, thank you so much. I really appreciate these tips, and I think the women as well on our Thursday session, they really enjoy these sessions. So I just want to say thank you, and continue to empower us, because wow, it's still a long journey.
Fantastic. I will not.
To our viewers out there, so I just want to say thank you so much, really, for being with us, and just want to remind you to go to our YouTube channel. It's called The Space to Breathe. Don't forget to like, to share, to comment, and also to subscribe. Like I said, subscription is for free.
Thank you so much.